Hey folks, Gwe. Now I know you've all heard about the failed coup attempt last year on January 6th, and I know that most of you would have heard that there is a congressional body that's investigating what took place at the Capitol building last year on January 6th. They want to know what transpired. They want to know how it happened. They want to know why it happened. They want to know why it wasn't stopped from happening. They're looking at all kinds of different people to see who had a role, what role they played, what their responsibilities were, what did they do, what didn't they do, what did they say, what didn't they say. I'm sure you're also aware that former President Trump and his compatriots, or many of his compatriots, a lot of his team, have said absolutely not. We are not giving this investigative body anything. We're not giving them our records. We're not talking to them. We're not answering their subpoenas. We are keeping our mouths shut. We are keeping our information to ourselves. And the former president, he's gone so far, I think he's gone through like 3 different levels of federal court, and right now he's in front of the Supreme Court trying to get them to keep his records sealed, to keep the White House records sealed. Today I'm not going to talk about motivations. I'm not going to talk about why they're doing it. I'm not going to talk about who's got what to cover up and who needs to keep themselves safe from who or any of that other stuff. There is, however, something that we can learn from what Trump and his friends are going through right now. Because he's not the only one that has ever worked this diligently to hide information from an investigative body or to hide information from the public. He is not the only person in this planet throughout history that has ever worked this hard to keep their secrets buried. Most of us have things that we would rather stay in the past. Most of us have things that we wished we hadn't have done. Most of us have things in our lives, in our past, that we really don't want to be brought forward. Things that we don't want to have to answer for, things that we don't want to have to speak about, things that we don't want people to know about us. No, so it's not just Trump. Most of us have something like this back there somewhere. Maybe it's recent, maybe it's in the distant past, that we would really love to forget about, and we really hope and we really pray that nobody will ever bring forward. These things, regardless of what they are, they end up gaining power over us. We become terrified that if they are brought out into the light of day, that we'll lose something. We're terrified that we'll lose something. We're terrified that our character will be harmed. We're terrified we'll lose maybe our position, maybe our authority, maybe we'll lose some sense of power, maybe we'll lose our jobs. We're terrified that we will lose something that is precious to us. And so we want that stuff back there. We want that stuff hidden. And we will work tirelessly to keep it hidden. We will devote time and we will devote energy to keeping this stuff buried and deep down in the dark. It gains a power over us that we begin to serve it in order to ensure that we are protected. And when we become a servant to this thing, whatever this thing happens to be, we end up losing the peace that God promises. There's a passage in Isaiah, actually it's in Isaiah a few times, but in Isaiah 48 verse 22, the prophet tells us, "There is no peace, says the Lord, for the wicked." Now I'm not calling anybody wicked. That statement isn't about a wicked person, an evil person. The statement is about, it's about these moments. Peace that God promises us is not the peace that comes with an absence of conflict. The peace that God promises is an internal peace, an internal security. That regardless of what we do, regardless of what we say, regardless of what we don't say or don't do, we can be at peace with those decisions and with those words. When we know that those decisions and those words, when we know that those behaviors and those statements are the right thing, that they are loving, that they are just, that they are liberating, that they are life-giving, that they are community building, that they are good. When we know that we've said the good thing, the godly thing, when we know that we've done the good thing, the godly thing, the moral thing, the ethical thing, the thing that gives life to our community, the thing that brings love into the lives of the people around us, when we know that our words and our actions is achieving that, then we can be at perfect peace with ourselves, regardless of what the world around us feels about it. We can be at peace. Regardless of how we're attacked, we inside can be at peace. It was the right thing. Regardless of how we might be persecuted, we in our hearts know that we've done the right thing. And when we're in that place where we're always striving to say the good, the godly thing, when we're always trying to do the good, the godly thing, when we know that we have an internal peace about those decisions and those words. And it doesn't matter if the world knows it. It doesn't matter if the world knows what we've done. It doesn't matter if the world knows what we've said. We can be perfectly transparent. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 100% of the time, we can be perfectly transparent. And it's through that transparency that we are fully and completely, truly liberated. There isn't some gremlin in our past that we have to serve. There isn't some secret that we must keep away from the world. A documentary I shared a couple of weeks ago, Le Silence. There's an interview towards the end where the documentarian interviews a Québécois ethicist. And the ethicist says, there's a saying in ethics. If your actions can stand up in the light of day, they're probably more ethical than actions that necessitate darkness, than actions that require darkness, that need to be hidden. Peace, liberty. It comes when we're able to let go. It comes when we're not trying to run away. It comes when we're not trying to keep something hidden. We can experience that peace that God promises us. Even though the world might be crashing in around us, we can experience the peace that God promises us when we are completely 100% okay, living in the certainty that what we've done and what we've said are good and godly. But when we must spend our time and our energy, when we must spend what is precious and valuable to us hiding and trying to keep our words and our actions, trying to keep our decisions hidden and out of the light, there is no peace. There is no liberty. There is only fear, strife, and enslavement. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that as we move forward together in this world, we would always be mindful of our words and our decisions and our actions, that we would always strive to do what is good, what is moral, ethical, what is godly, what is loving, what is life-giving, what is community growing, so that we, regardless of how the world reacts or responds to us, we can experience that peace and liberty that comes from within. Amen. Nemultus.